know that I have been single for a very long time, almost coming up to my 12-year anniversary in July. And it's been a roller coaster navigating single life. Back when I first became single after my boyfriend and I broke up, it had been me hating being single. I felt lonely. I felt like I needed a man to make me happy. I was also 19 when this happened, so very young and dumb. But it took me a really long time to get out of that mindset. I was basically still subscribing to those thoughts throughout college and even a little bit of grad school. And then once I finally became independent, out in the real world, out of school, having to get a real life job, something sort of clicked for me. I just knew that, you know what? Maybe this whole single life thing really isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. But it was baby steps. You know, it took time for me to get happy, to get comfortable. And in this video, I want to talk about 10 benefits of being single, and hopefully this can help, you know, shift your mindset into getting more comfortable with it, because being single is not so bad. Let's get into the first benefit of being single, according to moi. I think one of the biggest things that I've really enjoyed about being single, and I think can also be a really good benefit to other people, is that once you are single, you get so much time to focus on yourself. Whether it's your career, your social life, your passion projects, your health, whatever it is, right? You have more free time that clears up because you're no longer hanging out with a partner all the time. And let's be real, like when you're in a relationship, you do need to give your partner quite a bit of attention. You need to communicate a lot. So you have a lot of that time that's freed up. And basically it gives you more time to improve yourself in these different areas. I think another big thing about being single that is huge is that when you are single, you don't end up losing yourself like you would in a relationship. Because trust me, it can be really easy to get so tied up and wrapped up in your partner, always hanging out with them, forgetting about your social life, forgetting about responsibilities, your family. All you care about is your partner. You become a little bit more selfish, and not in a good way. Yeah, you can still be selfish in some capacity when you are single, but I feel like there's more balance. And I do think like sometimes people who are in relationships, so we're clear, this isn't like everyone. I've just noticed it from my own personal experience and friends that I've had, and how some friendships have ended because of this, is where I have not been prioritized as a friend. That person has just put too much of their time and effort into their partner, and then they get married, and then they have babies, and then they just like don't even care about me as a single person anymore. So they lose their self in their relationship, in their family, in their marriage, and they just forget about their single friends. And I feel like when you're single, it is a lot harder to kind of do that. I think the biggest thing that people might get wrapped up in is their job. This is a good time to find that balance, because I do think it is a little bit easier by finding a healthy balance. That's my perspective on it, at least. This is like a silly little benefit, but I still see it as a benefit. So think about your bed when you're sleeping at night. I don't know about you, but I am rolling around. I get very restless and I starfish a lot. Sometimes my cat takes up a lot of the bed, and then I have to like shift my body around to find a better position so I have room for my legs. And that makes it a lot harder when I'm sleeping next to a partner. So it is nice to have the bed to yourself when you're not sleeping next to your partner, but I do like human cuddles, so that is one thing I do miss, but at the same time, I enjoy a good starfish. Here's an obvious one. You don't have to worry about getting cheated on. Here I am. I haven't been dating for like the past 2 years, and that's been my choice because dating was giving me burnout. It was really bad for my anxiety. And I just didn't want to deal with whether or not a guy was going to put effort into just the first stages of us talking and dating. I just didn't want to have all the emotional labor on something that isn't even a relationship, even though I'm trying to get it to a relationship. And it's just really nice to not have to deal with that. It's really nice that I don't have to have the anxiety that this person is no longer going to be interested in me anymore. This person no longer wants to date me for another reason. Also, I don't have to worry about getting cheated on. And I feel for those people who get cheated on, even though I've never been cheated on. That still sucks. I can't imagine what it's like to experience that, but I do see that as a benefit because I never want to experience that, and single people don't have to experience something that horrible. So that is another benefit. I know that sounds a little dark, but it is the truth. So number 4, this can kind of tie into what I said from the first thing, but what I really like about being single, or it's a really good benefit about being single, I should say, is that being single really gives you time to focus on self-development and personal growth. There have been so many things that I have learned over the past 10, 11, 12 years of being single. I've learned like what I like, what I don't like, and that doesn't necessarily mean like what I like and what I don't like in a partner, but things that I like and what I don't like in my life, what it means for my career. I know how to set boundaries now. I've learned how to become more confident for myself. So many different things that I have learned and grown from. I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. There have been a lot of life lessons that I've learned, and I feel like there is no better time to learn that more while being single. And it's not to say you can't learn that in a relationship, because trust me, you absolutely can. But when you are single, there's a whole different perspective that you get out of life and what you can learn from being single, especially if you recently become single after getting out of a long-term relationship. It's an adjustment, right? And there are gonna be a lot of things that you're gonna have to learn and go through, and it's gonna be an adjustment. You're gonna have to learn to adapt, right? So it's a really interesting perspective that you'll have being single, and I see that as a really positive thing. Number 5. I mean, this is gonna sound super cheesy, but it is true. When you are single, you are gonna have more flexibility to travel. When you aren't dating or seeing somebody, it's a lot easier to buy a plane ticket somewhere, assuming you have the money to do so, because it is really expensive to travel, so let's, recognize the privilege there. You just get so much more flexibility. Like, you get to do things when you want, whenever you want, and you don't have to have somebody holding you back. You don't have to worry about how it's gonna affect the other person in a relationship. You just get to do it. And I think you should absolutely take advantage of traveling if you have the means to do so when you are single, because you may not get that flexibility as much when you start dating. Now, if you do have a partner who's willing to do that with you and also has the means to do so, then by all means go and live your all's best bold life, because that's absolutely what I want. And I think that's healthy. Like, you and your partner should absolutely be traveling together, and I can't wait to do that. But I'm just saying, you do have more flexibility when you are single to travel as opposed to when you aren't, especially when you are not married, you don't have kids. It's just a lot easier in my opinion. I really recommend you travel, even if it's just domestic travel. It's still something, right? And I think traveling is such a beautiful thing. I mean, I just can't stop thinking about my Dubai, Israel, and Turkey trip that I had last month. Ugh, I wish I could go back, but I look forward to doing more travel, and then I look forward to doing even more travel once I do have a partner who's willing to explore life like that with me. Definitely cheesy, I'm sure you've heard it all the time, but I truly think it's a great benefit. One thing that I like about being single is that you don't have to make any compromises or sacrifices in your life. I feel like once you get in a relationship or once you get married, a lot of compromises and sacrifices get made, and sometimes it can make one person out of that couple kind of miserable. I don't believe in lowering your standards, whether it's relationship-wise, career-wise, whatever it is. Like, you should always set standards for certain different aspects of your life. I do feel like it is a lot easier to not have to compromise your goals and priorities when you are single, and that truly is a benefit. I mean, I think people might disagree with me on this one, but again, this is just from my personal experience. I feel like I have no room to really talk about this one, but I am still gonna say it because I do think that this can be true for a lot of people, and it is still something that I am working on. But I do think being single gives you a really good chance to work on your finances and become more stable in life. I know lots of people who don't even want to get married or get into just a regular relationship until their finances are in order. And part of me wonders if that's why the universe has kept me single for this long, is because part of me also wonders is like, maybe the universe wants me to be more financially stable until I get into a relationship. While that would be nice, I would like to try being in a relationship even if I'm not financially stable, knowing that I'm still gonna work on fixing my finances regardless if I have a partner or not, because it's my responsibility to take care of that. What are your thoughts on this? I mean, do you feel like if you're in a relationship or you're married, has it been a lot easier to manage your finances? I don't know. I feel like it is because you have dual income usually. It is more expensive to be single, so I do think that a lot goes into play where you really have to do more budgeting. I know kids are really expensive and that can make things more expensive as well, so that is one less financial responsibility off a single person who doesn't have kids. But trust me, we do have to pay the bills, just one person if we're living alone. I do think it's a really good time to get your finances in order and to help you improve your financial stability. Number 8, a really great benefit about being single is if you currently are not dating somebody, whether it's casually or maybe you do want it to be exclusive, but something happens where maybe you have to move. I think what's really great is that if you absolutely are truly single, you're not seeing anybody, you can literally move locations and it will not affect a partner and it will not affect the person you're dating because you don't have anyone to date. It's a lot easier to have that flexibility. Some families have had to have their life uprooted. Children have had to have their life uprooted because one parent takes a job that requires them to relocate, and that can affect the partner, that can affect the kids, where they may feel like they have to start their life over again, make new friends. It could affect the partner where they may have to get a new job because maybe their job wasn't originally remote. That's a really big decision, right? And it's a lot easier to make that decision when you're single, knowing that you're not gonna affect other people that you're dating. Now, it may make your friends sad, of course, but I feel like it's just completely different. Like, you will still be able to communicate with your friends from a different place. Pretty much most of my friendships are long distance at this because a lot of them still live in Virginia and California, but I make sure that I keep those relationships healthy, and I feel like it's a lot easier to have a long distance friendship than it is to have a long distance romantic relationship. That's been my personal experience. Maybe you have it differently. Again, just speaking from my experience here. Honestly, a benefit about being single is that you just have more time for yourself. And I know what you're probably thinking. I feel like I barely have time for myself. I'm always working. I never have enough hours in a day. Here's what I mean by this. You have more time to spend it by yourself. So maybe when you don't have as many priorities, it just means you don't have to constantly commit to making plans with a partner because you can choose when you want to make plans with your friends. A romantic partner does require more attention than your platonic friends, but you should absolutely not be forgetting about your platonic friends because you need to have a healthy balance. You get more time to spend with yourself. And I just feel like having that quality time with yourself when you do get to have it is just absolutely precious. And I feel like that is a huge benefit of being single. The last benefit that I have of being single is that when you have been single for pretty much as long as I have been, it really teaches you to become happier and more fulfilled without being in a relationship. So you're gonna get into a relationship feeling happy, healthy, and fulfilled. And that is going to make your relationship so healthy, it's gonna blossom, and it's just gonna be so beautiful. And that is something that I really look forward to. Obviously, there's still some things in my life that I do wanna work on, but I can say this with confidence that when I get into a relationship, I know that I'm gonna get into this relationship feeling fulfilled, feeling like my needs are met, feeling that I have gotten to experience everything that I've needed to experience. I've learned everything that I needed to learn before getting into this relationship because this is what's gonna help my relationship thrive, and that's how I see it. So I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on this. What are some benefits in your own opinions about being single? Maybe you disagree with me on something. That's totally fine. Like I said, everything was based off my experience here. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. If you did like this video, do make sure you give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!